highway chicken curry. My name is Chef Irpal and you're watching me cook a very famous dish. You know, in India, what we do is go out to dine, especially on the highways. Now, on the highways, you'll find excellent dhabas. Now, these are kind of rustic restaurants, roadside eateries, but they're very, very famous. You know, some of them are legends actually. Everybody remembers going there and dining. And I remember a few of them. So, one of them is near Bombay, you know, in Lonavala. Sometimes when I go to Punjab, I see this very famous dhaba on the Ambala road towards Chandigarh. And I'm sure it'll remind you of the chicken curry that you've eaten there. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, the highway chicken curry. That's what I'm cooking. Okay, for highway chicken curry, what you require is quickly some onions, which I am going to cut. Now, if you're cooking around 800 grams of chicken on the bone, essentially on the bone only, okay? Otherwise, no fun. Take at least 4 onions and I'll slice them. In the meanwhile, what do you need to do here? Vessel, cooking vessel on the flame. Oil here required is a little more than usual. Now, highway chicken curries are generally high fragrant dishes, little spicier. That's what they're famous for. That's why we like them. And garam masala, the blend and the whole garam masala is little high. So what I'm doing is cinnamon here, black cardamom, 4 to 5 of them. When you put black cardamom, important, open them up, okay? Otherwise, what's going to happen, if they burst, there's a chance of you, getting hurt. So very important. 4 to 5 of them. Small cardamom, 6, 8 of them. Nice fragrance, okay? Cumin, 1 teaspoon. Some cloves in here, and before these things burn, I need to slice the onions. Wow, managed to cook fast. And cumin is nice and brown. The moment you smell the fragrance of the spices, you add this sliced onion. 4 of them is what I've sliced for approximately 800 grams of chicken on bone. That's very, very important. Saute the onions. Very rustic curry. The quantity of tomatoes added is also quite high in this. And one more thing I must tell you. The quantity of ginger and green chili is also high. When you eat them, you must get that slurry thing in your, you must hear that. This is what you need to hear that. That's what we all like when we go out dining, especially the chicken curry. Yeah, take tomatoes, 3 large tomatoes, and I'm going to cut them, chop them actually. I've got chicken already in here. Now I must tell you, the highway guys, some of them use desi ghee or saturated fat. Now I've got some here. You want to add it? You can add it. What's going to happen is it's going to increase the taste. So if it's a matter of taste, let me add 1 tablespoon of this, just 1 tablespoon, so that it brings out the great flavor. Oil also, wow, suddenly the profile changes, the smell of this changes, absolutely divine. Now let this get brown. Tomatoes to be chopped. A watchful eye in here. Stir this up. As the onion start browning up, what you need to do next is be prepared with the ginger and garlic paste. Very important. So here, the quantity of ginger is more than the garlic. That's what I do. Hence, the pastes are separate, but you have a choice. You can use definitely ginger and garlic paste together. And later, you can add the ginger juliennes that I'm going to add here. Ginger paste, 1.5 tablespoon. Garlic paste, 1 tablespoon. Saute for about a minute. Treat every ingredient with respect. Yeah, the way you would do to your family members. This is the family member of the chicken curry, the highway chicken curry. So let this saute. The smell should go off, and then the tomatoes that go in. Some people do add the tomatoes later after the chicken because they think the quantity, the time taken to cook the chicken is increased. Yes, because of the acidity, it does happen. But I want the tomatoes to get pulpy and mushy, so that the gravy becomes smooth. If you add the chicken first and then the tomatoes will not get pulpy and you might not get a smooth gravy. So after you add tomatoes, you need to cook for at least 4-5 minutes so that the whole mixture gets mushier and smoother, and then the next thing. So let this get cooked first for at least 4-5 minutes. Now as the tomatoes are getting pulpier, see, they're getting pulpier, which makes the gravy smoother. What I'm going to do is, this will keep cooking, and in the meanwhile, I'll slice some ginger and cut some juliennes of this. So take about 1/2 inch piece of ginger and cut juliennes of the same. Some green chilies, 3 of them. Now this is the spicier one, so you need to be careful. 3 of them. If you don't like it spicy, you can avoid it. But what you need to do is slit it from the middle. All this goes in to this mixture. Ginger, juliennes, green chilies, absolute rustic. Now, next, I'm going to add some red chili powder, 1.5 teaspoon. If you get the colored variety, the Kashmiri variety, very good. 1.5 tablespoon of coriander powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of the turmeric. Garam masala, 1 teaspoon of this, okay? And this you need to add while you're cooking, okay? That's important. And then you need to add salt, sing along, jump, dance, do whatever you want to do. Do namak shamak, this is what you can do, okay? There you go. Suddenly the chicken curry starts looking good now, the masala especially. Cook this further for 3-4 minutes after you add the dry spices. Now, if this chicken was not farm-fed, like what probably I remember during my childhood days, it would never be farm-fed chicken, like what we call broiler chicken. This would have been cooked before the tomatoes were added, because the local chicken, the desi chicken as we Indians call, doesn't get cooked easily, okay? So as you cook the ginger, garlic and the onions, then you need to add the chicken, because it's a little tough, but the taste, I tell you, is amazing. This one, you can take a risk of adding later. When all the spices have been added, everything has been added, then you add the chicken, is absolutely fine, because this doesn't take too much time to cook. So what I'm going to do is, after 3-4 minutes of cooking the entire thing with the dry spices and the salt, everything together, see, the color is absolutely beautiful. The chicken goes in. Keep cooking without the water in this. Let the chicken get cooked with the spices, tomatoes and onion. I'm not going to add any kind of water at this point of time. Let this get cooked. Maybe cover this up. Yes, cover this up and let it get cooked. We'll keep stirring in between. In the meanwhile, one very important thing. Loads of coriander is also added to this dish. So about 2-3 tablespoons chopped coriander. If you want to measure the quantity in tablespoons, probably 3 tablespoons of chopped coriander. Gives a nice flavor to the dish. Now, this is something which is very, very fragrant. Coriander in India, used probably almost in everything. Some dishes we add it before, while we are cooking actually. In some we would add as a garnish on top. Nowadays, yes, all chefs prefer, adding a sprig of it. But in a dish like this, which is rustic, I would certainly add this point of time only. Gives a nice flavor. Coriander in here. And at this point of time, first give a stir. After cooking about 5 minutes in the dry spices, I'll add some water. So in goes the water. About 500 ml of water is what you will add to the chicken. And now, cover this up and cook. The highway curries are generally thin, so water you can keep adjusting. I've added 500 ml of water first. The chicken will also ooze out water. And let this get cooked for at least 6 to 8 minutes nicely in the spices. And then little more of garam masala in the last before we finish the dish. After about 15 minutes, what you need to see is, wow, look at this. Now the whole gravy looks delicious. Very important to note that the chicken should be cooked. Now, how would you come to know? One important thing is to note that, especially take the leg piece, as it keeps shrinking and the entire flesh gets pulled up, then you know the chicken is almost cooked. You start seeing the bone down here, this is what you see, and you come to know that's when the chicken is cooked. So now this is ready. If you think it is not ready, when you are cooking, probably the chicken would be bigger, so you can cook further, more than 15 minutes. Finally, some more garam masala, increase the fragrance. I added initially also, and now once again, chicken is ready to serve. Got a beautiful bowl here. Very rustic, you see, very rustic, absolutely divine. The curry is thin, it's never thick. The onions are usually like this, what you see here, and it's spicier. I'm just garnishing it with fresh coriander. You can straight away take some bread, take some buns, get some steamed rice. If you really want to enjoy it, get some steamed rice and then eat it. Remember the highway days? This is what it is.